Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be finally my first part of my Best in Beauty for 2017. I finally was able to sit down and film this today for you guys, so I'm really excited to dive into all of the eye products that I've been loving in 2017. Obviously, I always film eye products first, because eyeshadow products are my favorite thing ever. Eyeshadow is my weakness. I love eyeshadow. I hope everyone had an amazing new year, and I hope your 2018 is off to a great start. I am filming this video in 2018, and it's my first video that I'm filming in 2018. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So at first, I really want to talk about eyeshadow palettes, of course. I don't think this video is going to be as long as most of my other videos have been. Last year, I filmed like 4 parts. I don't think I'm going to be filming more than 2 parts this time. I think I'm actually going to get through this not too slowly. I think I'm going to go pretty quickly. So I wanted to start off with the palette that I was definitely loving probably the most throughout the entire year. That was a new discovery for me last year in like December. And I use it, I would be lying and I would be kicking myself if I didn't remember to mention this palette, and I almost forgot. And then I grabbed it off my shelf. I'm like, oh my god, I need to mention this palette. And I don't think I could wait to film this video just to talk about this palette, because I couldn't talk about it in 2016 because I didn't start using it till the end of 2016. And I'm talking about the Kat Von D Metal Matte Palette. This palette was definitely the best holiday investment I've ever made. This palette is definitely the only palette that was worth buying in 2016 when it comes to holiday palettes, and I don't regret buying this palette at all. I use this palette so much, you guys, because it literally has everything that you need in one palette. It has your colors, it has your mattes, and I really, like, every time I use this palette, I don't find myself reaching for another palette really that much at all. Maybe the only time I'll use a different eyeshadow is when I'm looking for a transition shade, because I don't really find that there's a transition shade in here that I really love. But other than that, all of these mattes and all of these metal shades are amazing. Like, I feel like you just need this palette and like nothing else in your collection, because you have really gorgeous neutral shades. You have glitz, you have synergy, you have flash, and then you have these gorgeous pops of color. And then you have these amazing matte shades. So the matte shades just, I am like still pretty tired, so please forgive me if I pause a little bit, but I am really, really tired still. I did just get back from Connecticut yesterday because I was in Connecticut seeing my best friend with my boyfriend for New Year's. So, and I did work earlier today. So now I'm finally sitting down and filming this for you guys. So if you want something, she did re-release this palette again, like in the middle of the year, but now she does have the mini versions of them, and I am not going to pick up the mini versions at all because I have everything I need in this palette. But honestly, the pigmentation, the formula, it's just there. Her pigmentation of her eyeshadows are just amazing. They just really pack a punch. Some of them do transfer, so do be careful, but I do find that these shades from the palette don't transfer as much as her individual shades. I find that these are a much better formula, to be honest. Probably because they're a little bit more pressed and a little bit more less glittery, because they're a pressed eyeshadow in an eyeshadow palette, and usually most companies make eyeshadows last longer in eyeshadow palettes because obviously you're going to store them for a lot longer. But yeah, honestly, I could really never say too many amazing things about this palette because this palette was so bomb. I created so many different looks with this palette. This shade Flash is amazing. I didn't really use it as much as I wanted to though, but I constantly used velour and ribbon for like colorful looks. They were just the perfect matte shade to have, and I really don't have matte shades like that in my collection, so that's why these two were like perfect for me. And then I always use the white on my brow bone. I always use the black on my outer corners. I just used like these shades here for a look that I did when we went to see John Oliver. I used these in my crease, and then I used like a milk pigment on my lid. I've been trying those out and they're amazing. I bought 2 of them. I'm wearing one of them on my lid today, and I wore the blue one like a couple days ago with this palette, and it just looks so pretty. Like, I can create any look with this palette, and I'm always going to be happy with it. The only thing is that I do find that some of the darker shades do oxidize a little bit when you're trying to blend them into your outer corners. What is this? That is really annoying me. I do feel like my lipstick is peeling a little bit and it's driving me crazy. Okay, that's better. But yeah, anyway, if you can get your hands on this palette, or if she will re-release it again, I really hope you guys got your hands on it the second time that she re-released it. When I got it last year, it was the only thing I could get for a holiday palette because I really didn't have that much money at all, and I returned some things to get this palette, and I am so happy that this was the one that I could get my hands on, and the one I could really just, I love it. I really just don't know what else to say about it. It's amazing. The only thing that's crazy is the size. Like, this is so impractical to store. I store it on one of my shelves in my bedroom. I don't store this in my bathroom with my other makeup at all because it is way too big to keep in there, but I love this. So let's stop talking about that and we're going to move on. So I'm going to try and go in order of the eyeshadows that I fell in love with, like, first towards the beginning of the year, and then go from there. So the second eyeshadow formula that I just fell in love with were the ColourPop pressed eyeshadows. I just use these constantly, and these became staple eyeshadows for me, probably even over my Makeup Geek eyeshadows. I used these so much. All the ColourPop ones end here. The rest of them are Makeup Geek. So the ColourPop ones end at this eyeshadow here. So I used the crap out of these. I'm actually wearing a few of them today, and then I'm just wearing the milk pigment on my eyes. But I find that these are just so beautiful for everyday wear. And then the lid shades are just so pigmented and so gorgeous. This shade, Firefly, what became my favorite transition shade in 2017, is just this really beautiful, light, kind of like an off-white color, but it's not like too white and it's not too dark. It's just like basically my skin tone. And I just found it was just the perfect tone for me to use as a transition shade, just a base for any eye look, and I just really, really loved this shade. It's just a really perfect eyeshadow for my skin tone, so that's what it looks like right there. See how it's a little bit darker than my skin tone? And then another one of my favorites was Wake Up Call, and that's this one right here. I'm actually wearing this one all in my crease today, and again, it's a really gorgeous matte brown shade, and it's a little bit more of a cooler tone shade. It's this one right here, and it's really beautiful. They just blend really easily. They're so easy to work with. You don't have to like blend your eyeshadow for a million years. They really are so easy to blend. So this one is called Note to Self, and this one's a little bit more of a warmer tone eyeshadow, and it's kind of like a medium tone, warm tone eyeshadow, and that's what it looks like right here. That one, those are definitely the 3 that I wore the most. And then this one, which one is this one? This is called Bel Air, which is also a really beautiful cool tone brown. I also really love that one as well. And then one of my favorite ones, and one of my favorite outer corner shades ever, is this one is called Cloud 9. I used this so much on my outer corners, like not even when I was just specifically using ColourPop eyeshadows. I would just use this in general on my outer corners because it was always just so perfect, and it's just such a gorgeous brown eyeshadow. And that one is right there. Really beautiful. And then I also really loved Say I Do, which is a really gorgeous frosty pink shade. And then also this shade here, which is called Crisscross, which is a gorgeous red shade. I wore this a lot during the fall time this past year, and it's just so beautiful in the crease, and it's such a gorgeous like orangey red. It's so richly pigmented. And then some of my favorite shimmery shades was the shade right here, and this one's called Let Me Explain. Oh, this one is so gorgeous on the inner corners. I'm wearing it today on the inner corners actually. Look how pretty that is. It's so reflective and so beautiful. And then this one was definitely a lot of people's favorites. I mean, I think I like Let Me Explain more than this one, but I am wearing this one on my inner corners along with Let Me Explain. And this one is called Liar Liar. And this one is more pink tone than Let Me Explain. And this is also a really beautiful color, but it's not as shimmery as Let Me Explain is. And it's right here underneath that one. And it's really, really pretty. I just, again, find myself really loving Liar Liar more. And then, of course, one of the best ones, and I think a lot of people talked about this one, was Come and Get It. This is such a beautiful, like, dual chrome pink gold shade. It's so freaking pretty. And it's this one right there. Look how pretty that is. It has, like, a gold tint to it. It's like a peachy gold color. It's so beautiful. And then this one is called Save It for Later, which is also a gorgeous color. It's like a yellow gold color, and that's what it looks like right there. I'm not going to try and swatch all of them, but I just really wanted to talk about my favorite ones. And that one is right here. And that's it for those, but they really are so easy to use. They're so affordable, and I feel like ColourPop really just slayed the game when they came out with these. They really are amazing. And also, Hear Me Out and Locked and Loaded. I lived in these on my brow bone. I'm wearing Hear Me Out today on my brow bone. They're also really beautiful. So that was it for those. And then I was going to mention these three from Makeup Geek. These are some of the newer foiled eyeshadows. This one's Nostalgia. This one is a Legend, and this one is Curtain Call. These are all really beautiful shades as well. I'm just going to mention those out of order, and then we'll get into the other ones. But these are really gorgeous. These were definitely, like, probably even better formula-wise than the older ones. They don't transfer as much. This shade Legend is so beautiful. Forgive me if I still sound a little bit raspy. I think I'm finally almost over this cold. So this one is Nostalgic, this one is Legend, and that one is Curtain Call. They're just really beautiful shades. Let me just get a better swatch out of Curtain Call. So that one is right there. They're just really pretty, and I wore those definitely a lot as well. So that was it for those guys. I'm not really going to mention any other Makeup Geek eyeshadows. You guys know I love them, but those three were like the newest shades that I had tried. I also really loved the newer matte shades that I also got, but I wasn't going to mention those because I feel like I just talk about Makeup Geek all the time, that I just really wanted to mention the three foiled shadows. But I did love the new mattes that I got as well, but I didn't use those as much as the ColourPop eyeshadow, so that's why I just mentioned those. Okay, so that's it for those. Now let's get into this gorgeous palette. So this was definitely my favorite eyeshadow palette of 2017, besides one other one I'm going to mention. And this one, of course, is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. I really didn't have too much of an interest in getting anything from Colored Rain until this palette came out. And I just saw like every person talk about it, and now I just have to mention it in this video because these are some of the most beautiful eyeshadows I've ever used before. This palette is just so gorgeous. Like, insanely pigmented. The shimmer shades are beautiful. The mattes blend like a frickin' dream. I just love them. One of my favorite shades in the palette is called Your Majesty. This gold is insanely pigmented, and it just looks like liquid gold on your lid, and it's this one right here. So gorgeous. And then this shade called Noble Woman I also used a crap ton as well. These are probably the two shades I used the most out of this palette on my lid. So pretty. It's such a richly pigmented red. And then the shade Crown is also a gorgeous, like, white gold shade. Oh my god, it's so pretty. And that one is right here. Look how pretty that is. Oh my god. They're just so beautifully pigmented. And let's just swatch a couple of the matte shades. You really cannot go wrong with this palette. Every single shade is so pigmented, and I don't know where you can get better quality for how good this eyeshadow palette is because every single shade is amazing. This one is Empress and this one is Royal Prerogative. And they're just really easily blendable, super pigmented, and I'm really glad I tried out their formula because I think that this was a better value for me than trying any of their single eyeshadows. I think it was just better for me to get a palette, and I'm really happy that I tried them out because the formula is gorgeous, and the hype is really real on this palette because they really did an amazing job on this. So shout out to Colored Rain for this palette. I definitely love the eyeshadows more than the liquid lipsticks that I tried. I think that the eyeshadow palette is definitely much better than the lipsticks. So that was definitely another favorite eyeshadow of 2017. I'm going to talk about this one really quickly. It's not my all-time favorite eyeshadow palette this year, but I definitely would be lying if I didn't mention it. And I'm talking about the Juvia's Place Masquerade Mini Palette. I don't love every single eyeshadow in here, but I really just wanted to mention a few of them because some of them are really gorgeous. And I'm mostly just going to be talking about the foiled shadows in here. Some of the foiled shades are so beautiful. The matte shades, not so much. But Juvia's Place really knows how to do shimmer. And these two shades, Giza and Dahlia and Casablanca, those three shades, so gorgeous on the lid. Giza is just so beautiful. It's definitely still my favorite shade in this palette. I'm just going to wipe off my hand again, and I'm going to show you that Giza shade. Oh, my lips are so annoying. I don't know why they're doing that. So that one is Giza right here. Look how gorgeous that is. It's like blinding how beautiful that is. And then Casablanca. This shade is gorgeous. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Like, insanely pigmented. And then Dahlia, which is also a gorgeous shade. Look how pretty that one is. Like, those were definitely my three favorite shades. And this shade Calabar is also really gorgeous as well. I definitely have to use that one more. I was so into red, shimmery shades this past year. I just really lived in them for the fall time. I didn't really wear this one as much. I did wear Kat Von D's Raw Power and a bunch of her shades more. And also the colorful shades in here are really beautiful as well. The shade Molly and Dahlia and Zola, these are really beautiful. I'll just swatch one of them. But these are also gorgeous as well. I probably wore these more than my Makeup Geek. Look at that one. Isn't that so beautiful? That one is Zola. And then Molly. I just wanted to swatch some of the colorful shades to show you guys those. Molly's definitely not swatching as well, but that one is beautiful on the lid as well. I did use this palette a crap ton when I first got it, and I did use every single shade in this palette this year. It was definitely one of my most used palettes when I first got it. When I did that online makeup haul, this was the palette I used the most because I really wanted to review it for you guys. And it's a good palette, just the matte shades are not half as good as the shimmery shades. The shimmery shades are freaking bomb. So that one is that palette. Okay, then the next palette I wanted to talk about is much more expensive than everything else, but I think, again, if I didn't mention this palette, I probably would be kicking myself. I really didn't fall in love with this palette when I first got it, and now I think I really do love this palette, and I'm talking about the Visor Warm Neutral Matte Palette. These mattes are actually really, really gorgeous. The more I use it, the more I realize how much I really do love these matte shades in here. I'm sorry for this shade. I dropped it a couple of times and this shade just got ruined, but I wasn't going to replace it. But as you can see, it's so dirty on the screen because I did use this palette a ton this year. So I just really wanted to mention it. And I did use every single shade. Like, this is definitely a palette that I feel like is worth it because I use every single shade in here. There's not one shade that I don't use. There are definitely some palettes in my collection where I don't use every single shade. So I just wanted to swatch a couple of these for you. They really are beautifully, richly pigmented eyeshadows, and that's why they are so expensive. but I feel like they really are worth the money. But I would definitely not like purchase these again if I'm going to be completely honest, but they are really beautiful, but you can get the same effect with ColourPop or Makeup Geek eyeshadows. So if you really don't want to break the bank, then I would suggest just going for those. So that's like that richly orangey shade, and that one is that other orange shade. I'm really trying to swatch this one better for you, but it's not really swatching that well at all. I'm going to try and swatch it better. Oh yeah, that's better. So that's the orange, and that one is like that reddish orange shade. And then I'll swatch the darker red. But see how pigmented they are? Like that's barely like touching the pan. Oh, my hair, man. And that one is that one right there. Again, they're not going to swatch like amazingly. Like you really have to try them out on your lid. I know that's like kind of a lot to ask for someone that doesn't really want to spend that much money on these. But I got these during the Vibe sale for the Sephora Vibe sale, so they weren't as expensive. This was still 20% off. So I thought it was more worth it getting a discount on it. And I do have a full review and swatching of this palette on my channel if you want to check it out. But I do think that these were really, really beautiful. I don't think I love these as much as everybody else like hyped them up for, but I do think it's a really, really good palette. I do think it is worth the hype because they are a really beautiful formula, but I definitely would not repurchase them because I think they are so, it's too expensive for me. I don't think that they're necessarily overpriced. I just think that you probably could get just as good quality out of like any other eyeshadows. Like they're not like mind-blowing. They're really good, but they're not like anything that I haven't seen before, you know? But they're still really good. Like I feel like weird recommending them because they're not my absolute favorite eyeshadow formula, but they are really, really good. And I definitely fell more in love with them over using them a lot more than when I first got them because I didn't think they were anything that special when I first got them. Okay, then my favorite palette probably this entire year is the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. I am obsessed with this palette, you guys. This is definitely by far my favorite naked palette I think I've ever had. And I don't know what it is about this one, but they knocked it out of the park with the formula. And I was using this palette a crap ton this year. I love it so much. And I think the reason why this palette is better than the other naked palettes, I'm going to take the brush out of here, is because there's so many more matte options in this palette than the other naked palettes. And I feel like that's why it's easier to create looks with this palette. And also the shimmery shades in here are absolutely gorgeous. There's only one that I don't love in here, and the only other thing is that I really wish that this palette had more inner corner choices, because you really don't get like an inner corner shade in here. This shade Lumbre I really like mixing with Ounce as an inner corner shade. But I do wish that there were lighter options in here, but they are so this is just so beautiful, like so richly pigmented. They blend so beautifully. And I'm a warm eyeshadow lover, and it's so funny because I'm wearing like cooler tones today. I almost did wear this palette today, but I just really wanted to try out this milk pigment. I'm like, Pigget. Like that's definitely finishing a thought, Caitlin. But these are so beautiful. The mattes are just so rich and so easy to use. And the lid shades are just so pigmented and so gorgeous. Like, this is one swipe of that He Devil shade. Oh my god, they're so gorgeous. And then we have Low Blow, which is really beautiful. And then Cayenne, which is, the mattes are just so buttery and so beautiful. Look how pretty those are. Alright, sorry, I just felt like I was getting way too much eyeshadow on my hand that I needed to wipe it off a little bit. But yeah, this palette is amazing. I have a full swatching and review of this on my channel, but I just wanted to swatch a couple of the shimmery shades. Like, this is like one swipe of each of them, and look how gorgeous. Like, look how pretty that is. Like, these are probably colors that you have seen before, and that's probably why, like, so many people thought, like, oh, it's something that we've seen. but the formula is so bomb. This is the only Urban Decay palette I'm mentioning in this video because I fell in love with it so hard. I liked the After Dark palette, but there were so many repeat shades in there that I already owned. Some of them were really gorgeous though. I definitely loved that palette, but this palette just knocked it out of the park for me. I used it so much this year, and I just really just love it. And I highly recommend this palette. It is so bomb. Okay, then just two more palettes that I used this year, that I discovered this year, and then just one old favorite. So the first one, oh my god, I love this palette so much. I don't know why, like, this palette really didn't get, like, that much love on social media or on YouTube, but I think this palette is amazing, and I used this so much, especially when I was going out, and I'm talking about the Jouer Skinny Dip palette. This is the Skinny Dip Ultra Foil Shimmer Shadows palette. Oh my god, these are so beautiful. I actually preferred using these a little bit more than the Stila ones because this one did not have as much fallout, and also the packaging is gorgeous. But look how pretty. Look how gorgeous these are. It comes with 6 gorgeous eyeshadows. I used this, this was the only shimmery palette that I took with me for New Year's, and I used this both times. I used Starlight on the corner both times, and it was so gorgeous. And then I used Magic Hour all over my lid with a ColourPop eyeshadow. And I just wish I could use this palette every single time I go out. And I probably will use it a lot more again. But look how gorgeous. Look at this Starlight color. Like, have you seen a silver? That pigmented and that gorgeous. And that one is Magic Hour. Look how pretty. Like, these are stunning. Look how gorgeously pigmented those are. I love these, and they go on so amazingly as well. And then I have to swatch Skinny Dip and Tan Lines. I'm definitely going to need to use the other ones a little bit more, but I used Skinny Dip so much on my lid and also Tan Lines because those ones were more like natural and a little bit easier to use for like everyday use. But look how pretty, like, seriously, I don't know why it didn't get talked about as much because I think that these are gorgeous. And I just think that Jouer really did impress me with this formula because these were definitely the foiled shadows that I fell in love with. They don't transfer as much either. Like, they do transfer, but they're not like insane amount of transfer. They're just so beautiful on the lid. They look wet on your lid, but they're even more gorgeous when you add a little bit of Smashbox Primer Water or MAC Fix Plus. Okay, and then the last eyeshadow formula that I fell in love with this year, this one really impressed me as well, was the Dose of Colors Baked Browns eyeshadow palette. These, like, mattes are just so buttery and so beautiful. Like, the formula of these are insanely beautiful. They are extremely pigmented, though, so be careful. A little bit of these go an extremely long way. So this is what the palette looks like, and I went pretty hard in this eyeshadow right here. There is like a pretty big dent on the bottom. But these are just so beautiful. I find that this palette is probably like the perfect go-to for someone that doesn't wear too much eyeshadow but just needs something that has all of the shades that they need right here, and I think that this is the palette for you. And then just like throw a shimmery lid shade on, or even just throw this on your lid and you're out the door. But the formula of these are insane. They're so pigmented. Like, look at that. So pretty. And they're just such gorgeous matte shades. Like, look at those. Like, I was super impressed with these. Like, I thought that these were just going to be so hyped up, but they are insanely pigmented and they blend out so gorgeously. I have like a first impressions video on these, and these were the only eyeshadows that I've ever tried from Dose of Colors. And I'm almost tempted to pick up the newer one, either Sassy Siennas, or I think it's like a berry palette or something, but they look so pretty. But this one definitely is my favorite. It's so beautiful, so I love that. And then, of course, I can't really not mention this palette without mentioning it probably like for the third time in this video. I definitely mentioned it last year and I have to mention it again. I'm not going to mention my Lime Crime palettes because I love those so much and I did use them a ton this year. But this palette I just love and I can't live without it. This is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I had to mention it again. Like, I just love this palette so freaking much. It's like my holy grail palette. And I'm not mentioning a Too Faced palette this year. I have not tried out a new Too Faced palette in about a year now. The brand is just not really turning me on anymore to their products anymore. Not like turning me on, like, you know what I mean. Just like none of their products really interested me this year. None of their eyeshadow palettes really interested me this year. But this palette was definitely a staple for me throughout the year again. It's just so gorgeous. The matte shades in here just blend like a dream. I used Red Ochre, Venetian Red, and Real Garlic so much for fall looks. I love the shimmery shades in here, Vermeer and Primavera. They're just beautiful. And then the neutral tones in here are so pretty, and I just find myself wanting to use this palette all the time. And I miss it when I don't use it. I'm planning on using it on Friday this week, hopefully. But I haven't used it in a little while and I just really want to use it again. I'm trying to work on hitting pan on the two shimmery shades in here, but they're just so beautiful. The only thing, like I said before, and when I compared, those are the two shimmery shades, when I compared this palette to the Colored Rain palette, is that I do wish that there were more lid options in here. That's the only, really, big plus to the Colored Rain one because they have a lot more lid shades in that palette and this one doesn't have as many. I'm also running on a pretty big lack of sleep again because I didn't really sleep last night when I got home. I was so tired when I sat down, but when I went to go to sleep, I think because I was so overtired I didn't really sleep well. And those are some of the matte shades right here. It's just such an amazing palette. I'm really trying to swatch these better for you, but look how beautiful those are. I just love this palette. It's just an awesome palette, guys. And I know that there was just such a huge controversy over the Subculture palette, but if you're hesitant to buy that palette, then just get this one because this palette will not let you down. It's freaking awesome. So, of course, I had to mention it. So that is it for eyeshadow palettes and some single eyeshadows, but I wanted to mention all those single shadows together. And then I'm going to mention a few more. So definitely I have to give a shout out to my ColourPop Super Shock Shadows again. I just love these so much. They're definitely my favorite formula for eyeshadows. And I didn't try out too many new ones this past year, but these were definitely some favorites of mine this past year, especially the shade Couche. This shade is so amazingly gorgeous. And I just think that this shade is so beautiful. I almost wore it today over wearing this pigment just because I wanted to wear it in my Best in Beauty video. But I probably will wear it later this week anyway. But it's just such a gorgeous eyeshadow. Like, look at this. Like, look how pigmented that is. Like, what other eyeshadows are you going to get that aren't like a shimmery pigment that's like a loose pigment that's going to be like this amazing and this metallic on your lid? They're just amazing. I love them so much. And then the other shade that I loved this year was Thirsty Girl. This one I think I wore on my birthday. And it was just so gorgeous. And I just love this eyeshadow as well. It's just a gorgeous like bronzy olive color. And it's just right there. It's so pretty. And then the other eyeshadows that I really loved, definitely this one is called Moonshine, which I also got with those two eyeshadows that I showed you. And this was the only one that I hit pan on. But I feel like sometimes it depends on which eyeshadow you get from ColourPop, that sometimes you hit pan and sometimes you don't. I didn't want to drink anything to make the lip transfer, but I don't really care, so this was the only one that I hit pan on, and this one is like a gorgeous brown, like goldish brown shade. It's really beautiful. I'll swatch that one for you too. It's like a dirty brown shade with some gold shimmer in it, and it's just a really beautiful shade as well. And then we have Lala, which is a really pretty like pinkish shade. It's kind of similar to Sequin from ColourPop, but it's just not as metallic. And this is a really beautiful everyday shade as well. And that one is Lala right here. It's kind of replacing Weenie for me since I had to get rid of that one because that one just got too old, and that's one of the Kathleen Lights ones. And then Boy Band is this really pretty like metallic bronzy shade. It's a little bit of a pinky bronze. This one's also beautiful. And that's what it looks like right here. Not really that good of a swatch. That one is right here. So pretty. So those were like the newer eyeshadows that I fell in love with from ColourPop because those are the ones that I purchased this year. I didn't really go too crazy on purchasing too many because I have so many already. And I did like a big declutter as well because they don't last forever. They get pretty dry after a year. And then the last one I wanted to mention is still like one of my favorite silver eyeshadows. This one is Liberty. I wear this one so much for like as a base when I go out. And it's just so beautiful underneath silver eyeshadows, but it's also gorgeous on its own. Like, this is the most beautiful silver eyeshadow I've ever owned. Look how beautiful that is. Like, I don't use Urban Decay's Revolt anymore from the Electric palette or like the ones from the Urban Decay Naked palette. I just go for this one when I want a silver that's going to last all night and it won't transfer. And this is my guy. I love it so much. So that's it for ColourPop eyeshadows. Now, of course, I had to mention these as well. I did really love these throughout the year, and I'm talking about the Stila Magnificent Metal Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadows. These are just so gorgeous on the lid. I know so many people talked about these and just overhyped the shit out of them, but they really were worth the hype. They really are gorgeous eyeshadows, and I just really wanted to mention the ones that I was loving this year. So the first one I had to mention is Kitten Karma, and this one is such a gorgeous like gold shade. I think I just wore this one not too long ago. I think when I went out, I wore it. Oh yeah, I wore it with my Tangled dress. And that one is this one right here. That one is Kitten Karma. Such a gorgeous shade, you guys. Like, really beautiful. And then, of course, I have to mention Rose Gold Retro, which is a beautiful rose gold shade. Duh. But it's just so beautiful. I got these when I was working at Ulta, so I got a pretty good price on them because I got them for like 30% off. And that one is Rose Gold right here. Like, I don't think I ever paid full price for these, but that's also a gorgeous rose gold. And then these ones I got off the website, I think, for 20% off. This one is Bronze Belle, which is a gorgeous bronze shade. And I wore this one quite a few times. Like, the first batch of them are so damn metallic, and these ones, like, are so beautiful. So that one is Bronzed Belle. Probably can't even tell the difference. And then the last one is called Smoldering Satin. This one is just so beautiful. I think this one is my favorite one. It's such a gorgeous, like, taupey color, and it's just so glittery. So that one is Smoldering Satin right there. So those are the 4 shades. The dual chrome shade in Sunset Cove is definitely not as good as these ones. These ones are definitely so worth it. Like, look how gorgeous those are. The Stila definitely came out with some amazing products this year, and I know everyone talked about these, but these were bomb. They are so good. They are so metallic on your lid. But just be careful because there is a lot of fallout. But if you apply them before you put your foundation on, and then you wipe the excess away, you're not going to have too much glitter fallout. And then the last eyeshadows I wanted to mention just really quickly, and then we'll move on to eyeliner and mascara, and then that's it, are the Kat Von D Metal Crush eyeshadows. I don't think I mentioned these last year because I didn't use them as much, but I definitely used them a bunch this year. This one is called Thunderstruck. It's such a gorgeous inner corner shade. Mostly I got this for an inner corner shade, which is crazy, but so many people talked about it that I had to get it myself as well. It's such a pretty, like, dual chrome shade. I love it so much. And then the other 2 shades are Iggy, which is a gorgeous electric green shade. Look how cool that is. It's just so pretty. But like I said, these ones do transfer more than the ones in the palette. They're still really, really good, but I find that you have to apply them a couple of times to really get the intensity that you want. So that's that beautiful green. And then the last one is called Paranoid, and I finally wore this a couple of weeks ago because I was like really wanting to wear it again, and it's just a really pretty electric blue. And that one is that shade right there on the bottom. So didn't really want to go without mentioning those as well. So that is it for eyeshadow. If you guys have any questions or comments or what your favorite eyeshadow was of 2017 or favorite eyeshadow palette, please let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. So those were all the eyeshadows I was loving in 2017. I had a crap ton because I love eyeshadow. Okay, so now let's just mention some eyeliners. So the first ones that I really wanted to, well, the first one I really wanted to mention, let's just mention a couple of felt tip ones. The first one that I really fell in love with is the Physicians Formula 2-in-1 lash boosting eyeliner and serum, and this is what the packaging looks like. It has a really nice tip to it, and it's really fine, so you can just really get a fine application, and it's really pigmented. It's not like too pigmented that it's like too crazy, but it's not like something that doesn't build up to a really nice black eyeliner. So I definitely was loving that, and I do love the point on this more than the other two that I'm going to mention because it's a really fine tip. But I find myself not gravitating towards getting high-end mascaras or eyeliners anymore. It's just getting too expensive. So this is definitely a really good option from the drugstore. And then the other ones that I fell in love with more towards the end of the year, like November and December, but I have to mention them because I did use them a crap ton. And these are the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Wet n Wild Pro Line Felt Tip Eyeliners, and these are what they look like, and these are felt tip eyeliners, but these are so dark and pigmented. This is the brown one. Okay, the brown one's kind of getting a little bit dried out, but it is a really good eyeliner. And then the other one is the black. The black one is so black, and that's what it looks like right here. See how much blacker that one is than the Physicians Formula one? These are so good, and they're so inexpensive. I don't know why nobody talks about these. They are such good eyeliners. The only thing I don't love about these is that the felt tip is a little bit thicker than the Physicians Formula one. I wish it was as fine as that one, but they're still bomb, and I still use them a crap ton. So those are awesome. And then the other eyeliner I wanted to mention is a liquid liner, and this is definitely by far my favorite liquid liner I've ever tried. I can't believe I didn't get this before, but I've heard so many good things about it, and I have to mention it. This is the NYX matte liquid liner, and this is obviously in the shade black. But I love this so much more than my Urban Decay eyeliners. I don't know why I didn't get this before. This is so much better than those. It doesn't like transfer to your lashes or bleed or like transfer all over your crease. It dries a lot faster than those eyeliners. It's not as wet, and it applies so nicely. It has such a fine tip. So this is definitely bomb. I love it so much. And then just a couple eyeliners for the waterline. The first ones are the Maybelline Master Precise Skinny Eyeliners, and these are the shades black and brown. Thank you again for this recommendation, Kristen Olsen. I love these. I've been wearing these nonstop since I got them a couple of months ago, and I had to mention them. I think that these are probably even better. Who is calling me? I think these are even better than the ColourPop ones. I find that these are a little bit softer on the waterline, and they are so pigmented. I mean, my ColourPop ones are getting pretty old that I probably have to get rid of most of them, but I don't find myself wearing colored eyeliners as much anymore this past year. I was definitely wearing black and brown ones a hell of a lot more. So this one is the brown, and that one is the black, and those are really good as well. And then, of course, I had to mention this one. I don't really use this one anymore, though, because it's kind of getting pretty old, so I'm probably going to have to get rid of it. but I used this pencil, like this duo, so much throughout 2017. This is the Urban Decay Glide On Slide On 24-Hour Pencil Naked Duo in the shade Zero and Whiskey. So this one is the brown, and this one is the black. This one's whiskey. This one is zero. These are so bomb. Like, these ones went on the waterline so good. And I know everyone talks about Perversion as their favorite waterline eyeliner, but Zero is amazing as well. And it's probably even blacker than Perversion. Perversion's a great one, but this one is also amazing as well. Okay, now I have a couple of mascaras to talk about. I was loving a lot of mascaras this year, but I really wanted to mention these three because these are definitely ones that I fell in love with in 2017. The first one is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara, and this is what the packaging looks like. I just need a little bit more water. Okay, so the first one that I loved was the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. This one I definitely love over the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I know, like, so many people compared both of these mascaras to that one. I probably need a new one, though, because there's so much buildup on the outside. It's kind of gross. I'm definitely going to have to wipe that off. But a lot of people say this dries out pretty fast, and I think this one is dried out. I've had this for a couple of months already, but it makes your lashes look so good and long and lengthy, and I think it's a really great drugstore option. If I could get the mascara off of here. This is, like, kind of really annoying. Yeah, that's better. But this is a really good mascara. It's very lengthening and very separating, which I really love. I really love lengthening mascaras, I think. So this one is a great option. And then the other, I'm mentioning a lot of L'Oreal ones because my favorite Maybelline one is the Maybelline, oh my god, I just forgot the name of it. Lash Sensational, oh my god. But I don't have it right now because it did dry out, so, but I did love that one. But I also really liked this one this year. This one was actually one that I didn't really love when I originally had it, and then I repurchased it, and now I really, really love it. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. I believe this is the one that I'm wearing today. Yes, this is the one that I'm wearing today. It's just really a really nice natural looking mascara. Excuse me. It's also really nice on the lower lash line as well. I actually really like this. It's not like too lengthening, but it's a really nice separating mascara. Okay, and then the next one is the L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black Mascara. You guys know that this has been a favorite of mine for quite a while, so I had to mention it again. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite mascaras. I still have it, but I'm probably going to get rid of this one. This one is pretty old. But this is such an amazing mascara, like for no makeup days, for when you just want to put on mascara and a little bit of concealer. I wear this so much, like when I was going to the gym. This is the only mascara I would wear because it's just so easy to use. This is also amazing on the lower lashes as well. It's just so lengthening, and it makes your lashes so long. It's such a good mascara because the wand is just awesome. This is definitely one of my favorites. And then the last one that is more of a recent favorite, but I really love this one. This one is the Catrice Glam and Doll False Lashes Mascara. This is the blackest false lashes mascara. I actually really love this as well. It makes your lashes look really good. Not like crazy long, but it does like separate, and I really love the wand as well. And it's also really good on the lower lashes as well. I just turn it over and I go like this, and it separates them really nicely. This was a newer discovery, and Young, Wild, and Polished kept on talking about this as like her all-time favorite mascara, and I'm so glad I got it. And then the last one is the IT Cosmetics Super Hair Mascara, but I don't have it right now. But that is one of my all-time favorite mascaras. It's such an amazing mascara. I love it so much. And then a lash primer is the L'Oreal Voluminous L'Oreal Voluminous Base Primer. This is a really good one as well. This is a really good primer. And I don't know why I used to spend so much money on eyeshadow, on mascara. Oh my god, I can't talk right now. I'm like so tired and I only have 2 more products to mention, but I'm getting like so antsy that I don't feel like talking anymore. I was gonna film both parts today. I'm like, yeah, like that's gonna happen, Caitlin. But this is a really awesome lash primer and it's such a good cheap alternative. But I don't know why I just didn't start purchasing this in the first place. I really don't need to spend too much money on lash primer. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention is an eyeshadow primer, and I really was using this so much in 2017. I mean, I love the Smashbox primer, but I just wanted to mention this one because I really was using this a crap ton. And this is the MAC Prep and Prime 24-Hour Extended Eye Base. This is just as good as the Smashbox one. They're pretty much the same exact thing. But I just really wanted to mention this because I was using this so much throughout the last couple of months. Because I really wanted to use it up, but it's such a good eyeshadow primer. It really does keep your eyeshadow on for such a long time. And it blends, your eyeshadow just blends so nicely on top of it. But this and the Smashbox one are definitely amazing. The Wet n Wild one was good too, but I didn't want to mention it in my 2017 favorites because it wasn't like the best eyeshadow primer I've ever used. It's good, but it's not like amazing. But yeah, that is it for eye products, you guys. I can't believe we got through that. So I will film, hopefully, my blush and highlight and face favorites soon. But this is all I'm going to film for today because I don't think I could talk anymore. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Please let me know what your favorite eye products were this year. And I will see you guys in the next installment of this video. So bye!